declaring states of emergency across the nation as a number of coronavirus cases soars above 3,000.
This is a crisis that will be with us, first of all, I believe, at least 6 months.
Meantime, confusion leading to chaos at U.S. airports under the administration's European travel ban.
The Prime Minister acknowledged today that the economy was facing a severe blow.
Worry there's not enough staff, ventilators, supplies, and beds for the sick.
Scientists say for every known case, there are about 5 to 10 undetected cases.
Everybody had to stay in their homes.
Covid-19.
Coronavirus.
Covid-19.
Coronavirus.
Covid-19.
Coronavirus.
Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus. Think of it. And this is their new hoax. 35,000 people on average die each year from the flu. Did anyone know that? 35,000. That's a lot of people. And so far, we have lost nobody to coronavirus in the United States.
This is not a financial crisis. This is just a temporary moment of time that we will overcome together as a nation and as a world.
We just got the news that the coronavirus is getting bad enough that they're canceling school. So, well, it's not being canceled, it's going to be online, and I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Nobody knows when we're going back to school. Nobody knows how we're going to do it online. I don't know if I'm supposed to go to school tomorrow because it says it's supposed to start on Monday. So it's all just very confusing right now. I might never go back to COD as a student again, which is kind of weird. But we'll just see what happens.
This is not the flu. Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
The governor of Illinois announcing all schools in Illinois starting Tuesday will be closed.
Schools across San Diego County are closing because of coronavirus.
All Florida schools are going to be closing starting next week.
At first it seemed like nobody was really worried about it. A lot of people kind of brushed it off or said, you know, the flu kills more people, or, you know, we've seen stuff like this happen before. And it wasn't until things started to change in, I think, everybody's daily lives that people were kind of like, oh, this is different.
It's hard staying at home. It is. I know a lot of times when you're at school or work or whatever, you're like, oh, I just want to go home. I want to, relax. And, me being pretty introverted, I'm like, okay, I'd rather just, stay at home and have time to myself and whatnot. But, there comes a point where it's just like too much.
At first we all were kind of like, oh, an extended spring break, like this is kind of exciting, like, some time off and whatever. But then, like, as the days kept going by and nothing was changing and things were getting worse instead of better, I feel like people really began to realize that it was gonna be like this for a while.
Some days I just feel like it's not normal, but like it's just, I'm at home, whatever. Other days are bad where it's like I really want to get out. I'm beginning to lose it and I just can't take it anymore. And then other days, I don't know if it's just me like accepting it. I'm like, we're in quarantine, so there's nothing I can do about it.
His work situation changed, so he no longer gets to go to work, and they had to cut about 10 people from his office, and so he's had to try to make up that difference as well.
Work is different because now we're close to the public, being in law enforcement, so we can't deal with any public coming in. My job is less work. The officers can't have any contact with people. We're having to do everything by phone.
See, whereas mine is opposite. My workload has increased.
Trying to handle the bills and get everything paid with less money coming in.
Mine has changed because I have all you guys home. You guys aren't used to your daily life. You have no school. You have to do everything by computer. Never thought in my entire life I'd have to watch you guys live through something like this.
Well, I'm cooking almost every night. So we're going through a lot more food, a lot more milk. And it's nice, though, to have the family together at the dinner table every single night.
You had more time to spend as a family and do things you normally wouldn't do. We never sit down for breakfast on Sunday. We've done that for the last 4 weeks.
That's just it.
We are sending our almost 20-year-old daughter to the store because
yeah, we're both high risk.
She's not at risk. So we've, my husband made masks for us to wear, and she wears a mask to the store and gloves, and then we have a whole setup when she comes home. Everything has to be wiped down and sprayed with Lysol, and then we bring it in the house, and we almost have like an assembly line.
So now, since I'm the one who went to Walmart and got all the groceries and was outside, I have to now just take off all my clothes that are contaminated and leave them. Well, I'm gonna go take a shower like right away, and then we're gonna just throw them right in the washing machine and wash them along with this stuff and the towel that I'm gonna use. So it's really cold. I'm gonna be really cold, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna leave my shoes out here. So
people are scrambling to stock up on supplies, prompting some stores to start rationing how much you can buy.
They are out of face masks. Superstores like this one are selling out of these products online and in the stores because of the fears surrounding the coronavirus. Stores that were recently filled with bottled water, baby wipes, and toilet paper wiped empty.
One of the whole shelves, like the freezer area, was just empty. I just couldn't believe it. There was just nothing there. You know, there's no toilet paper. It's crazy. There's like no cleaning supplies. There's like nothing.
Probably maybe a week or so after this whole thing started, they added plexiglass to like the registers and the customer service desk to block transmission. They also added stickers on the ground with footprints, and then they spaced them out 6 feet apart for social distancing purposes. I mean, they've done all right. They have, cleaning every hour on the belts and everything. They require us to wipe down the carts. So, and they have the rules set that the governor put out. So I'd say they're doing all right. So I think Jules done a pretty good job, honestly, of trying to make not only the customers but also the employees as safe as possible. When it first started getting serious, there wasn't much people and the work was kind of light, but now it kind of seems a lot more now. There's just more people coming around. I feel like I'm working harder. Honestly, at first I thought it would be really difficult to balance school and work all at once. Because I'll be honest, I got kind of overwhelmed at first and at some points with the online schooling, and you think it'd be the opposite. You think having to drive out to campus and sit in class and then get the assignments and then find your own time to do it versus having time all day when you're home. You think it'd be a lot easier, but it's kind of not.
the first time school got canceled, I was a little confused because none of my teachers expected it. They were all prepared for it to get canceled, but they were all like, if it gets canceled, this is what we'll do, but probably not. Just be back, expect to be back on Monday. At the beginning, there was no clear news being sent around. It was all just rumors. So we didn't really know what to listen to, what to expect.
I had to go back in my class to clean everything out for the year, knowing that, now that we have no school for the rest of the year, it was like, it was frozen in time. The date on the board said March 13th. We had upcoming events that never happened, sadly. Everything was just like my lesson plans ready to go for when they came back on the 16th, what was supposed to be the 16th.
From there on, we planned on doing e-learning for just a couple weeks, and then spring break, and we'd be back. School has changed drastically for me because obviously we had to make that huge transition from in-person to online, having interactions with hundreds of people a day to none.
They're definitely not covering the curriculum in the same way that we would be in regular school. Not at all. You know, we're covering much less. We're making things a lot easier for students and more accessible to students as much as we can. But I think that there's a lot of things that the students are learning right now that are really valuable and that are going to carry over, you know, into their careers and, you know, whatever they do in their future.
We had all these field trips and one of my humanities classes all got rescheduled. All of our, big project assignments got pushed back a couple weeks.
I will be signing an executive order to extend Illinois' disaster proclamation, our stay-at-home order, and our suspension of on-site learning at schools through the end of the month of April.
The first time the quarantine was announced in like early March, it was like through the rest of March, and the restaurant shut down and all that, and I was like, okay, this sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. We have to do this. This is what we have to do. This whole COVID quarantine has basically forced people to change their lifestyle and change their habits and everything. And so I think at some point people started to get used to everything. And it was sort of like a routine for them. I know at least to some extent I sort of, got used to everything. And I think a big thing with everybody was, just trying to get through the day, trying to stay positive, trying to look for the good news with all this. The biggest thing that I've been doing really in this quarantine is playing Animal Crossing, watching YouTube and, playing my ukulele, listening to music. But I've just tried to do so many different things.
Next week, I intend to sign an extension of our stay-at-home order with some modifications through Saturday, May 30th.
And students will continue with e-learning after the governor's decision to cancel public and private school for the rest of the school year because of COVID-19.
When you look at the numbers, it seems obvious that obviously things aren't getting better yet, so we should all be expecting to be, stuck at home for longer, but it's still really hard to hear when the governor of your state or the president or anybody higher is like, yeah, we're gonna have to keep living life this way for even longer. It's hard to keep getting your hopes up and then keep getting them crushed over and over again.
The extension into May probably hit me the hardest because it was not only is my birthday essentially canceled, that was pretty much a lockdown guarantee that I wouldn't go back to COD because the semester was ending like the 15th, I think. And there was just that small part of me in April that was like, well, maybe by May it'll be fine and we can come back. But extending it through May was just the nail in the coffin for that.
Honestly, every time it gets extended, it's harder and harder to hear because every time you get your hopes up that things will be better by April, things will be better by May, and it's like it just never ends up being what they say. And so it's really hard to get your hopes back up, and it's really hard to believe what you hear the people say because it just keeps getting extended.
I don't think I expected to miss the entire last part of my senior year. I think it was very underplayed at the beginning. And teachers were like, no, we won't even, teachers didn't even think we were going to be taking off more than a couple weeks. I think it's different because we will never be able to go back to our high school, a place that we spent 4 years in, which kind of sucks because, you formed relationships with your teachers and your entire other class. And as much as it sucks for the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, like, they get to go back. Nobody else in the world hasn't gotten to graduation because of a pandemic. I'm not able to, go to prom or graduation, which is like, whatever, I'll get over it. But there's a lot of people that I'm, like, never going to be able to see again. And I don't think I'm going to get closure from my last 4 years of high school like I should have. Like, everybody deserves to. I think coronavirus has taught me how to be alone with myself.
It's helped me to kind of understand that deeper connection that we all have.
Not taking pretty much anything for granted.
How to be patient and do what's best for everyone at the cost of what you want to do.
The biggest thing I've learned for this is it's not to take anything for granted. Nothing is promised. Anything can change like that.
Honestly, I don't think the coronavirus will really be over until like maybe 2021 sometime.
I think it won't end until 2021.
I think we'll have a vaccine before the end of the year.
It's going to be a long time, I think, before it's going to be completely back to normal, if it ever is going to be back to normal. I think normal is going to be a little different now.
I hope it will end around June. I don't think it's gonna end. I don't think I'm gonna be going to college next semester. Hopefully second semester, but that's just gonna be this again.